welcome back to the ESL studios. Here at the Xfinity desk, I am Ryu, a manager, and with the legend Days. We'd like to take a moment to thank a sponsor that helps make this season happen. They also help to quench the thirst of blue every single day we're in the studio. That is Mountain Dew. You can check out mdl.esca.net for more information on the Mountain Dew League, which gives amateur players a chance to make it to this league, the Pro League. Now, as we look into the first map of the day, it's going to be Train. It is CLG and Immortals. We're going to take a quick look at the roster. Who do you think from this list of players needs to really step up going into Train for map 1 for CLG to have a chance to steal one from Immortals today?
So with CLG, I think they're in a bit of a transitionary period, right? They had very, very solid results with their old roster. Obviously, they've moved on. And now they have two really young, inexperienced players in Ethan and Sub Rosa. So obviously, they will need to step up because we know what Cutler and Hayes are going to give you. We know what Kusa is generally going to do for you. But Ethan and Sub Rosa are two guys I'm going to keep a close eye on because we want to see how they're going to play against a couple world-class players, in my opinion, in Bolts and Phelps, right? I think Bolts and Phelps and their third best player, in my opinion, Henny, are really world-class players. So are Ethan and Sub Rosa, are they going to kind of cower down and be afraid to play their game, be afraid to peek them? It's going to be interesting to see, for me, how they play. And this will be a good judge of you know, their personality even, and how they are as players.
And you did mention Bolts and Phelps. Bolts, I always call him the rock for this team because he's just... He tends to be the stud for these guys. He's super consistent. You know what you're going to get map in and map out. He's very hard to trade. He almost comes away with 2 or 3 kills, even if he's in solo in a site. And then Phelps is a little bit of an X factor in his aggressive play. He's kind of the opposite of Bolts. Some maps he'll go off, drop 35. Some maps maybe a little bit quiet. We talked a little bit during the pregame about Henny and how his style of opping kind of contrasts with Cutler. Can you break that down for us? Explain that a little bit?
So with Henny, I've seen a lot of growth in him as a player in about the last 4 or 5 months. Ever since they really got Zeus, I think, he's really changed how he ops. He's not as peaky, he's not as one-dimensional, and he's growing a lot. And now they're able to trust him and put him in spots like on Cobble at A to be by himself, to spot for the team, and then stay alive, be evasive, let the rotate come, and win the round that way, instead of making flashy plays. Now, Cutler, in my opinion, isn't a very flashy player, and I don't think he has that X factor necessarily that Henny has. Henny, you could put him in an awful position, an awful spot, and he'll just make magic happen, right? That's what I'm talking about with that X factor. I think Cutler is a more stationary opper, not as aggressive, and can't just pull the rabbit out of the hat like Henny can. So I think it's very contrasting play styles between the two, and I think it's a big advantage for Immortals.
Be interested to see how that shakes out. 2 maps that are very, very op-friendly in Train and Cobble. We do have Train coming up first. The players are getting ready, so we're going to throw this on over to the casters. That is Lex and Blue Stash. Take it away, guys.
Just couldn't call me that all day, isn't he?
All day.
It's not even
ever.
It's not even really like that clever of a name, to be honest. He just like tacks Stash at the end of it.
You know, play it down.
You need to think about that a little bit more.
Who cares? You know, it's just a mustache, guys. It's just a glorious piece of man.
It actually looks really ugly.
Facial hair.
Doesn't look good at all.
Not yet. You gotta let it come into its own. Blue.
It's in its really ugly phase right now, dude.
Yeah, and I think we got like 9 players in the server right now. No, we got all 10, but waiting on them to ready up.
As always, players.
You know what? They're over there having some incredible, you know, analysis work, and then they throw it on over to us, and of course that mustache comment just sends us off on a tangent.
I blame Ryu personally. Not my fault.
I blame Ryu for a lot of things, but he is not at fault for what's on your face.
Damn.
That said,
right.
you know, still not going live here. Okay.
But CLG versus the Immortals, again, like we said before, probably pretty straightforward for the Immortals here for this one, despite the maps, despite the advantages from both sides. We saw CLG play recently at Northern Arena Land. Wasn't the greatest, again, even for Sub Rosa, despite the fact that he had some good games. It wasn't very consistent was the biggest issue with him.
I think the biggest part, I mean, say what you want about CLG's pickups in Sub Rosa and Ethan. I think they have talented players across the board in all 5 of them. I think that when you go for younger talent like that, you're not really going to get the I don't know their final form. I've said that before on stream, and I cringed when I said it before. You know what that word means?
Yeah,
Cringe?
no, it's fine in that context.
Yeah.
It's just when like if everybody
Whatever.
just spams
I'm
it.
just saying. I think they need a full season to develop. Days is talking about like, are these guys going to be afraid to peak guys like, you know, Henny, Bolts, and Phelps that like, you know, Immortals kind of came over. I mean, they were Games Academy at the time, but when they came to the U.S., like the pro teams across the board had no problem playing against them, and we got to kind of watch, you know, them grow into what is now Immortals and kind of be this international force. Especially, I mean, here in North America, not completely dominant as they were, you know, perhaps in the last season. But what they are able to do is kind of just intimidate North American teams across the board. So when you have young players like Sabrosa and Ethan that don't really have much professional experience, like it's difficult to say how they're actually going to perform when it matters. And for me, kind of, I couldn't use my own career as an example. Like I wasn't comfortable playing against players of this skill caliber for seasons as it was. I mean, I don't think most of the young talent in North America really develop into top fragging power that CLG picked them up for until, you know, maybe they've had some experience, have been to some events like Northern Arena, and actually have played in the Pro League for more than a season. So it'll be interesting to watch CLG going down the line. But yeah, I don't think in this match you're going to maybe see a flash of brilliance from one or both of them. But a little unfair to kind of, for you or I to sit here and be like, oh, well, Sabrosa and Ethan didn't perform. And
Well, granted, neither.
Well,
We didn't really see all that much from Kusta, Hayes, or Cutler either. It wasn't, again,
Yeah.
some good maps. It was just there was no like clear front runner for the team at this point.
the curious thing about that, though, I mean, they touched on it over there at the analyst desk, but, you know, the whole Cutler, Kusta, Hayes dynamic is kind of like they're re-identifying as players as well. Like, trust me, when I went from main opping to rifling in Pro League, like I watched my performance plummet, and I definitely didn't have the confidence that I did, you know, in the same manner that maybe Cutler isn't as confident to make those flashy plays, the X factor that Dave's brought up. You're not going to necessarily believe that you can do all these crazy things that is expected of your opper at this level.
All right, guys. Well, it does look like we are going to be getting started here with the first map. Once again, it'll be on Train. And to start things off, the Immortals will be jumping onto the T side. CLG will start off on the CT side, and we will indeed jump directly into this pistol round.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, you know, as CLG is on this pistol on the CT side, you know, how can momentum carry them, and actually, can they get financial control? Can they get enough rounds here to where the CT side actually pays off for them? But a quick Ivy split coming out from Immortals as they're pushing up through Ivy. Kusta finds the first one from those back lanes. Phelps just trying to dodge around here with his teammates and get some map control and hopefully get that bomb down soon. But Kusta is not going away in these back lanes. Sabrosa poking at a Z, waiting for his teammates to regroup. And Ethan, just a ballsy play out of there from Connector, and he comes onto the bomb train and finds one of the bolts. And now it's just Henny and Zeus in a 2v5. And Kusta taking some heat, but he gets bailed out by Hayes, and that's a swift pistol round for CLG. No deaths on the board. The bomb plant does get planted, but CLG has the defuse quite easily. And Ethan snags that RWS.
Immortals very shaky with their ability just to pick up frags in general there. CLG come out, just destroy the Immortals as soon as they go for the take on the outer yard there, and with nothing to do. So CLG does get the early advantage on CT side, and the Immortals, they find the plant, so we'll expect a save here, and then the rebuy on the third round.
Yeah, and kind of like as I carried on from my analysis into the play-by-play, I'm going to go back into the analysis again. I think CLG getting money control is super important right here, right? Don't get ecoed, don't have too many unnecessary deaths. Immortals are definitely going to buy in the third round. Not going to buy up too much here. And just, you know, get some confidence early. Get your young guns fragging and make sure that they're in a good, comfortable place. Maybe get 5-0 on the board. And then figure out what's going to happen the rest of the half. Because Immortals has executes, they're well practiced, and it's trained. So definitely want to have your strategies together on a map like this.
Zeus will get pretty much destroyed as he tries to go for the inner hit here on his lonesome, and the rest of them, three of them at the very least, pushing down Ivy. Although Kusta not able to find that much. He ends up getting knocked out, but Sabrosa's here. He's got the better angle. He'll be able to take them down, and also Ethan coming in to support too from Ivy. Well, this was a bit of a ruse though, as Phelps was allowed to push into the B bomb site and was able to get that bomb on the ground. So somehow they find that at the very least, giving them that extra cash for the third round buy-up. They should secure utility and whatnot, but still CLG ultimately crushing the round.
That was fun. They sent Zeus down lower early for the fake. He had like utility and whatnot. Then they threw the fake back towards Ivy. Everybody screamed about their eco frags. Meanwhile, The bomb's getting planted at inner. Nobody has a clue. 2-0 now. CLG upgrading to rifles, dropping those SMGs. They know Immortals are going to be buying on this round. So it's just a matter of time to see whether Immortals going to take it very quickly or set up in a default. Looks like they're going for players towards mid. Just heading towards a ladder fast. Might be a quick outside split here.
Bolt's gonna waste no time too. The smoke comes in, but Ethan responds. Not only this too, but Cutler chiming in for a second pickup, and he just gets back behind the bomb train. As we see the peak coming out from the players that push T-Con. 3 still up and running for the Immortals, but they're struggling to find kills. Finally, Henny will be able to get one there against Sabrosa. Peeks out from the right side, Cubby. Now more of them still trying to make some momentum gains here, but having trouble getting up to the bomb site. There we go. Another punishment comes out from Henny. Him and Phelps get control of the side of the bomb site here, but more gonna push back out. Great pop flash. Zeus, however, flanking around, but Hazed holds his ground. Grabs only one closer to E-Box, but then turns himself around and picks up one more. So it goes down to a 1v2. Henny trying to work a miracle here. He'll have to get a 4K if he wants to close out this round. Lost bomb control. Still a minute on the clock, granted, but CLG are set up very well just to close this round out in its entirety. Cross spray, so either way Henny goes here, he's going to find himself a dead man unless he can try to flank these players, but the way he's proceeding at this point, probably not going to work out to that.
Yeah, it just comes down to angles at this point. Henny finds one at a Hazed. Now it's just a 1v1. And he finds the second. Kusta caught out in the open. As soon as Hazed goes down there, the crossfire obviously is lost, and you're in an uncomfortable position. Kusta had no time to relocate. This is just a beautiful round from Henny. And actually, this round gets turned around relatively quickly with Sabrosa and Ethan both over-peaking right there. I mean, they had the entries. It was a 5v3 situation, and then Henny just capitalizes on an uncomfortable spot from Kusta. That's a great start from Immortals, finding the first round. And we were in full caster mode there.
Hello. Welcome back to our camera. But yeah, Henny with a big clutch play, of course, bringing things back. And we did see a player disconnect in case you missed that on the screen, which is why the game has now gone into a pause. So
Boltz
we'll
is
be
back.
resuming it as soon as he's reconnected, which he has now. So it should be just about a moment here.
Yeah, once the unpause comes in, we'll hop back in game. But, I mean, if you're going to start things out with a 2-0 and you're going to go into that first gun round and you get the first 2 entries, there's nothing more disheartening than losing a 1v2 to close that out. So CLG going to force into this round. 5-7 on Sabrosa. Kusta has a scout. But Cutler's just armed with a P250, and Ethan or Hazed are the only ones with rifles. So now Immortals in relative control of this match.
See Henny too, now trying to look for the opening shot once more. He hits it, but it's through the train a little bit, so Kusta not actually going to be completely dead. Henny spotted a second player, but it was on the jump up, so he's not able to chain it into the shot in time. Being able to get on the cross. A bit of a tense situation right now. Over here by T-Con, but neither team finding anyone just yet, and it looks like CLG are going to back up to give IMT a little bit of room to move here.
Yeah, just spreading out in a default, making sure any aggression from CLG gets shut down early. They know they're low utility, if nothing else, so you just wait out the smokes, try and bait out any grenades from CLG that you can, and then roll into an execute from there. They're running mid-game. Already. Immortals probing out of team mid, and Boltz is taking quite a bit of damage, and Lucas will fall after finding one on Akusta, and I believe he was just scouting towards outside there, but nevertheless.
Sabrosa with a nice timing, going to try to push forward, but Phelps, despite the fact that he's full blind, is able to hold his own position there, denies the push, goes into a 2v3. Cutler as well moves out a little bit from the bomb train to hunt, but still holding back. There's the peak, and Henny again able to punish. Phelps is brought down very low, but still, the rest of CLG, we're waiting for one to rotate over. That's Hayes coming all the way over from CT spawn. Thankfully, Immortals are still playing this rather slowly, creeping up to the site, and we can see Henny being the first to wrap around to the other edge of the bomb train. Not going to be given anything at this point by CLG.
20 seconds remain. This is important. I mean, they need to get a bomb plant here quickly, but Phelps will fall. And now it's Henny again in a 1v2 to win the round. He finds one on a Cutler. Trades out the op for another op for a scout. And he's in trouble now. 9 seconds remaining, and he doesn't land the no-scope. Hazed will find it. And with 4 seconds on the clock, Hazed might not have even had to have taken that gunfight, but Henny forced it, obviously. Now 3-1 CLG, and they bounce right back.
And so with that, of course, it is going to reset the Immortals. They go back down on just upgraded pistols for the majority of their players. Henny actually is going to buy up entirely, so they do force through this one instead of just going directly for the eco. Most of the players, however, are not going to be able to get anything beyond the upgraded pistol and armor, so we will see, of course, how well the take goes. And for the first time, actually, throughout this match, they're going to head directly towards inner and see what kind of a hit they can make over here.
Yeah, this pop flash is actually going to bust right above lower if he throws it at all, and it doesn't even look like he did. Held onto it. They're just trying to go make a contact rush it in. Or they overwhelm Hazed. Ethan finds on another one, but that bomb is inevitably going to go down in the back of that bomb site. Immortals just posting up in their post-plant positions and see if they can at least wither some more guns down from CLG, as their economy isn't great either.
Even turning out the guns too, just to give players with more health better chances at finding some of these impact frags here. Bolt's getting the rifle in his hands now, and he was brought down very, very low. And we can see, trying to go for the retake, Bolt's actually bails out of the bomb site, and with that, that's going to leave Henny out to dry. He goes down to Sabrosa. They are wrapping around, and no Molotovs. They've taken full control, but Zeus going to try to toss this nade, actually pegs into one of the players, but then falls down, so no damage done. Still managed the situation with it, but now the bomb's being abused. A nice shot from Zeus, finds it with inside. Cutler trades it though, and now they're going to jump on it. His teammate's going to try to hold the line, but out comes Bolt. He just barely misses that kill, and now it comes down to the timer, but they don't have enough time. Ethan's going to miss this defuse, and the round will go back to the Immortals.
That is huge. I mean, CLG's money gets broken, but everyone on the map dies. It was so close. Bolt's almost just accidentally got the kill in the diffuser anyway, but no kid on the board. The diffuser just doesn't come in. Hayes just he takes this gunfight, and it's a beautiful call from Immortals, probably knowing that, you know, in CLG's eyes, they're only playing one towards the inner bomb site with a rotator at Z. Just try and take the contact at lower ramp, get into the bomb site, and overwhelm it, and that's exactly what happened. The bomb goes down, and in a 3v4 situation, for Immortals to come out with that win with just pistols mostly is huge.
You can see Cutler actually finding a nice quick early kill, but Albert Bolt is going to look to clean things up very fast as well, as they waste no time pushing out from T-Con. Very fast round from these guys, and with CLG being on their eco, not really being able to find all that much, although they did trade out some good damage, so it's still potential for someone to roll in here. Surprise these guys by taking down quite a few of them. As we can see, 31, 36, 18, and 7 HP on the remaining members of the Immortals. So they're being a bit cautious, but well handled nonetheless by Bolts, holding back on the top of that train. Less in the view model, and he takes down one more player. So it's just on haste. And again, with a easy little USP, not a whole lot for him to find. So Honey will dispatch them, and the Immortals tie things up now.
Yeah, this is exactly what you don't want on the CT side of terrain, especially when you're CLG playing Immortals. You're in a situation where you basically have to double eco, and so the score is 3-3 at this point. Immortals are about to secure what could be a bank for several rounds moving forward, but you don't really have a whole lot more rounds to give up, right? It's 3-3 already. Suddenly, this could be looking at best like a 9-6 half for CLG, barring another gun round win coming out from them. So the upcoming round will be huge. Another eco coming out here from CLG. Like I said, double save. So if they can do any more damage to just keep this Immortals economy low, very important.
We can see Zeus screaming back out here now too. Good damage done, and Zeus at the moment just cleaning these guys up. Obviously CLG on the double eco. Not a whole lot they can do to resist this. At very least Zeus brought down to 1 HP, but they're even dispatching of flankers and whatnot. So again, full situation under the control of the Immortals now. And for Ethan and Kusta, just not a lot they can do with this gun power.
Yeah, and it's getting, I mean, they've been scrappy, at least on their ecos leading up to this point, but of course you just have PG-50s and USPs. Not a whole lot of damage that you can hope to incur, especially when they 5-man group up towards inner like that. And actually, Kusta will find one. Poor Zeus standing behind Henny and catches the bullet in the face. Nonetheless, 4-3 now, Immortals in full control of this match, but CLG's going to answer now with a gun round of their own. See whether or not they can tie this back up.
And of course, this includes the out coming back on a Cutler now. He's an utility buy for the entire CLG roster, but Immortals buying up just as strong. Still keeping Bolts with the SMG for now. But we will see how the split ends up going once more as they line themselves up for the default. Henny, though, is going to be actually very aggressive with already pushing out from T-Con. Spots a player. No connection, though. Doesn't end up going through as he retreats back inside for the time being and waits for the rest of his teammates to set up for this hit.
Yeah, and I wonder whether or not that's a Fallen and Cold Zero invention, or whether or not that's the brainchild of Henny, that smoke that dissolves the Molotov at T-mid. And it's right there at the French entrance. And you kind of jump out with it, go for the pick, fall back in without anybody knowing you were there. But first entries are going the way of Immortals. Kusta and Sabrosa both fall, so now this is a 5v3. CLG not looking good at this point.
He spots them, though, as the smoke starts to fade away. Seeing the second player, too. He's already grabbed the first kill. The second man, however, manages to get back away. Phelps surviving with 73 HP. No bomb spot either. It was kept a little bit further here on top of the ladder room. So out of the view of the CTs. Nonetheless, though, Immortals making slow impact as they now start to move in for the crunch. And this is where the default will execute itself. Ivy starting it off first. There is going to be Ethan waiting on the other edge of this smoke here.
Yeah, this is Ethan's play to make. If he can at least get one here, you might have a fighting chance this round. If he can grab two, it'd be huge, but Cut will make contact first from that Sandwich area from Henny, and Ethan on point now. Falling back to these flashbang, but he does get away with one on a bolt, and now it's a 3v3. This is doable for CLG.
Everybody on CLG as well, moving in from the tunnels at the moment. Starting to wrap back in, but Henny's got good angles. Quick shot, too, to find Hayes. Looking for the second. Misses that one, and down to 7 HP. Tries to duck back behind the train, but he won't be able to get away. Ethan grabs that frag. We get even again into a 2-on-2, and they're wrapping each other at this point. Phelps on the site. Going to have a lot to do. Lucas is spotted, though. Got the intel from his teammates, so they are waiting for it. They've got the crossfire set up. And for Cutler here, is he going to try to push back out? He won't be able to find any impact. Lucas handles both of the remaining kills. And the Immortals stack up yet another round.
Yeah, and that's a huge round coming out from Lucas. I mean, he nails the entry. And, of course, this is a beautiful shot from Henny. He almost nails the second one. And that's just kind of the that X factor that they were talking about at the analyst desk earlier. But Henny just able to come out with a kill when he absolutely should not. Secures that post plant. Lucas cleans up the final two. Wins the round for Immortals. Now it's 5-3 rather. And just pistols now for CLG. And this is not a good situation to be in if you're hoping to upset Immortals now.
Again, looking for that early frag too against Ethan here, but not being able to find the shot this time around. Nonetheless, CLG on Nico, we've already seen multiple of these, and they haven't really been all that impressive as of yet. Highest hopes in the world, but this is an A after all, so we've seen this upset happen many times before. Zeus and Phelps, though, handling the first two frags fairly easily. And now the rest is essentially just going to be cleanup. They got 1 or 2 players on the site. We can see the slow play just to be cautious about that. And actually, Kusta wins a battle out in the open there by hiding up on top of the bomb train. Henny playing with him a little bit, but ultimately he executes. And for Cutler, tries to push into upper, but will be shut down by Zeus.
Henny is so good. He's just flying around with the AWP, and just the bullets connect. Like,
I mean, look at how much impact, like, even though a lot of these are coming in as...
Can we check out that tweet for a second? A2Z is one of the greatest CS players of all time.
Nicely done.
Dazed.
Thanks to the production, of course. Keeping the meme alive, the meme dream. But yeah, I mean, like, just even look at the scoreboard right now for Henny. Like, he's leading by such a huge margin, even though a lot of these are eco frags. 14-5. The next highest teammate is down at 6-5. And this time, well, Lucas wants a piece of the action, so he's going to push right in. Ethan burns bolts early on here, but look at this from Lucas. It's not even communicated. Walks right up, grabs Kusta. Cutler isn't even able to react to it. Henny finding another kill, and Lucas is still kicking some ass back over here, just at the edge of the short push.
Yeah, and that's just a fast outside play, just kind of zerging the outside. Dropping Molotovs on the back bomb train, and then back towards Ivy. Allows Lucas pretty much, you know, shrouded in the mist from the Molotovs to remain unseen as he pushes towards that hell area. And he just pretty much flanks the entire CLG side. And then only one kill needs to follow up from those that are swinging out from E-Box. And that was Henny, so now it's Hazed. 1v4. Because of a kit, he's got an M4 and a few nades to work with, but only 39 HP. Probably just save this M4 the best he can.
Diving into the smoke, hoping to pull a bit of Metal Gear here, but Zeus is on top of him now. Is he actually going to check down below? That was the real question. And at the moment, it does not appear so. He's gone directly past Hazed here. Molly inside, but now Zeus is going to check it at the snow. Oh, he just dropped straight down. I was about to say.
It was almost super smart from Hayes. He had to have known he was getting hunted, right? Like, hides in this smoke in ladder room, but they hunt him down. And now it's 7-3. And already this is a lost half for CLG. So you're just working towards salvaging it the best you can. They're probably going to, they're going to save here. No reason to force into it. Maybe grab some armor with some pistols, but just try and bring as many rounds as you can back into the next half.
And so again, another eco. Not expecting all that much from CLG, and even the Immortals, no reason to hesitate now. They've been able to handle these ecos plenty of times before, so they're just going to push directly for the outside bomb site here. We already see one of them pushing up through the short lane, and Bolts is going to move into Ivy, although that one is actually the only push that doesn't go so well. Kusta manages to win the duel versus Bolts. The other 3 on the site, though, have been taken down, so it's just Hayes rotating in and Kusta holding his position from before. But with an AK and armor, could be able to find impact. Or now, since it's 1-on-4, more than likely they may just end up falling back to try and save here, but he'll still be hunted. You can see players jumping through. Finds Zeus, takes him down. It's tagged along the way back over here behind the wall. It's down at 47 HP now. And still 3 more players to take down.
Yeah, this is not doable for Kusta. There's just no way. But 8-3 now. You gotta wonder how much pressure is on CLG to put some rounds on the board right now. So going into this gun round, you know, they had a hot start. First 2 rounds went their way, and even the first part of the first gun round, it just looked like it was all CLG. And of course, ever since then, it's been all Immortals. So at this point, the pressure is on to get something done now. Hopefully the young guns start chiming on the outside, but several players are heading towards ladder room, if not the inner bomb site. So.
I want to remind you guys as well, you just saw that quick pop-up, the Mountain Dew League is currently going on. It's actually live right now, so if you're looking between these matches or whatever time you may have to check out some more amateur CS down for the Mountain Dew League, it is live over on twitch.tv/ACA. But anyway, the action gets started and Phelps moving in there, okay.
Did he have any idea?
Apparently didn't notice that Hayes was sitting directly next to him, spraying wildly, so his teammate Zeus is going to be able to handle that kill regardless. And for CLG, they're all moving away from Z, so wrapping in, this is possibly already a save call.
Yeah, you have to save at this point. I mean, Hayes, I don't even know if he was fully blind. It was just the awkward angle at which, Phelps had dropped down through that smoke. If it, what do I say, flew? CS's game of inches, Literally inches right there away from Hayes' face was Phelps, who had apparently no idea that there was an M4 going off in his ear. Nevertheless, I believe it was Zeus came up with that frag, and the inner bomb site is just completely open. If you're playing kind of aggressive at the lower ramp, you can't even get a chance to buy time for your rotators to come in. So calling the save is a good call. If they escape with any of these weapons, they do. Cutler on the skin of his teeth escapes with AWP, so they're going to be able to buy into this one. And 9-3 again. Being able to save those two weapons was huge, but you're just trying to hope that this can be a 9-6 half, and you need to make it happen right now.
And so CLG once more will try to upset here on the gun round, and at the very least just try to piece something together to make this second half a little bit more competitive. Immortals, though, wasting no time, are just going to go right over here to the back of the B-bomb site. Already pushing down ramp 2. It's Zeus leading the charge. Molotov comes in, finds the kill, and he can't get out of it in time, however. Took too much damage and too long to find that first kill, so they will find a trade. And also, Lucas taking up an open position, swung way out wide. Cutler's actually going to win that in the quick peek. So it goes down to a 3-on-4, and the advantage for CLG. Nonetheless, bombs on the ground. Immortals still going to try to hold on to this one, and good smoke coverage across the site is not really letting CLG push in just as of yet. There's Henny with the first pickup, but there's a flash that's tossed in there. It allows for the trade. Ethan wrapping in the corner, trying to take down Phelps, but he holds a good position in the smoke. Doesn't last for very long, though. Kusta catches the trade on that one, and he even pushes over there farther into upper and finds the final kill against Bolts.
Yeah, nice retake coming in from CLG. It really needed to be flawless. But, at this point, it doesn't even matter. You're just glad that you have rounds on the board. So no matter what weaponry you're carrying into this next round, whether you're able to get, FAMAS's on the board and some utility. I mean, we saw it there. Hayes got caught out. He got the information, but he pulled out his Molotov, dropped it, and wasn't able to bring his gun out in time to actually fire back at Zeus. So Zeus had done his job just fine. But the utility did pay off. It delayed the push from Immortals and denied them essentially map control. Like you said, Lucas was caught out in the open. And pretty much it was Immortals just scrambling to defend against the retake that was rapidly coming in from CLG. And that nice play from Ethan pushing up towards Pop Dog actually might have won him the round, but here's Zeus opening things up on Akusta.
Finally, they slow things down a little bit here, and Zeus decides to hold to wait for anyone on CLG that may move in to counter out that aggression. In fact, we see just that as Kusta, which is way into the back of the box halls there, will be taken down by Zeus, and another early kill is gained from the Immortals. Not only that too, but it's one of the ops that goes down. Big boost for these guys that they can potentially use a bit later in the round. But still, slowing things down and playing it across the map right now, but ultimately lining up for a possible default to play into the A-bomb site.
Yeah, Coach Garrett, I understand why you're urging your team at this point to play 2 towards center. I mean, Immortals have gone there the last 3 or 4 rounds, yeah? But the issue is as soon as Kusa is, lets his position be known and he goes for sort of an aggressive peek like that, it's just Hayes alone this bomb site, and Immortals can literally do anything on the map. The entry has gone the way of Immortals every single time, and here's Bolts just being so aggressive towards Ivy. Takes down Sub Rosa, and it's just isolating CTs at this point. You pick them off one by one and pick apart the defense. And Phelps actually, Hayes with a staunch defense in the inner bomb site, turns things around, and now Cutler on the outside picks up 1. So Hayes, he's going to need a 4K to get this done, but Henny and Bolts are the only ones remaining for Immortals.
And they didn't actually grab the bomb to bring it into this site just yet, so they get control, but they have to move back outside, which leaves only Bolts to defend this. Now Hayes is going to be held back for a moment here to do the smoke, but he's not wasting a lot of time. Already trying to creep his way back in. Bolts is waiting for the peek there. He spots him. And thankfully, Hayes doesn't actually check towards that tunnel, so Bolts is going to take him down without too much trouble, and the Immortals get themselves into double digits.
Yeah, I mean, CLG, the issue with playing aggressive like that and losing the opening battles, like round after round, is just right there. I mean, the extremities of the map are basically left wide open. You just need 1v1 gunfights as terrorist, because CLG spread thin across the map, right? There's only 4 members remaining. You have to cover the inner bomb site. And so it's just a matter of, a few calculated peeks out of Immortals, melts the defense across the board. Now it's 10-4. CLG scrambling to make this at least respectable. They're going to have to buy out in this last round.
See the Immortals too, starting to push forward a little bit. Henny wrapping in, nicely done. Shot right to the face of Sabrosa as he tries to push up aggressively to that corner. Now the rest of CLG are going to scramble a little bit here. They put Ethan up by E-Box to wait for another hit on outside. And Zeus, actually, is almost caught out there too. Shot rings in from Cutler, but it doesn't actually make its mark. And they'll just start to fall back. Ethan even getting a bit impatient, playing over there towards the ladder room, but Immortals know they have full control of everything that CLG is going to try to throw at them. So there's no reason to rush it. They're just going to play it slow. And Lucas has spotted Ethan in this corner. And there you go. It takes him a minute, but he does actually find the shot. Takes him down within that corner. Phelps is just pushing through a Molotov. They have no fear anymore. Kusta holding in a corner, finds one with the CZ. And Phelps moving up here, trying to hunt them down. But Kusta finds one more with the AK before getting knocked out by Henny. At the end of the day, it'll all be left to Hayes. Nice instant headshot, but caught. Trying to pick up the AK here, so down at 9 HP. He actually almost had the final two lined up, but still will get taken down by Phelps. And that's going to end the half 11-4, guys. A big lead for the Immortals. We're going to be coming back on their CT side here in just a little bit, so stick around for more action right here at the ESL Pro League.
He's gonna get the one kill in that bombing coming onto the side. And Phoenix has to stay up. Oh, he gets the trick for that Phoenix! Oh my god, what a way to win that round! They don't have a smoke, so this orb is still. Oh, that!
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, TheScoreEsports.com, Mountain Dew, and ESEA.
And we bring you back once again here, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro League, where at the moment, Immortals are just crushing CLG here on Train. They just took 11 rounds on their T side, and now they're going to switch halves to the CT side, where they only need 5 more to close out this first match of the evening.
Yeah, I mean, the CT side from CLG is just torn to shreds, essentially. But, I mean, Immortals' discipline across the map, the ability to kind of work in pairs and pressure the extremities of the map. I mean, once you get the opening pick on any round as the terrorist side, it's so easy to just kind of mid-game throughout. And I didn't really even see anything strategically that stood out from Immortals. They just won their opening battles. It was consistently a 5v4, a 5v3 for CLG. And when the main battle actually happened, of course, they're outnumbered to bits. So nice play from Immortals on their terrorist side. Hopefully here on the T side, CLG can actually bring something together. Hopefully they've drawn at least a few plays up for this pistol. Can bring something to the table other than essentially getting demolished.
All right, well, we are gonna jump directly into this pistol round now, and CLG sending 3 of their players over here towards Ivy. Now Lucas is waiting for them, sitting behind the server right now, but won't see any action just yet. We'll be able to act as an early warning, and actually Ethan getting into a bit of a battle there, finds Henny. Lucas, though, is going to be the linchpin here now as they start to wrap around. They check it, and Ethan, nicely done, finds the shot onto Lucas as well. So Ivy's cleared. This is the start. This should allow them into the site. And now you're relying mainly on Bolt to try and turn this around. He wraps in from the other corner, but Ethan again moving in, chasing down that kill. They overwhelm him, and Bolt is also going to get knocked out of this one too.
Yeah, I've been relatively impressed with Ethan so far this game. But CLG still has 2 members of Immortals to deal with, and Phelps has walked completely through the smoke, and Hayes knows he's onto it. Sabrosa closes things out, and the second pistol going the way of CLG. They won both pistols. You know, the CS gods cannot smile on you much more than they already have, so it's just a matter of putting rounds on the board when it actually counts.
And so, of course, now into the next round, we will see the Immortals forcing up directly. CLG, though, going to be trying something, just going to be having 2 of their players going directly for AKs, but 2 of them are also just going to stick with the pistols that they've had from the previous round, not actually going to be upgraded to SMGs or anything. We only see Kusta picking one up here, so going to play things a little bit more conservatively to save some extra cash here in the event they lose a few players, which rather likely considering the way the first half went. But Sabrosa already finding the first one. There's Phelps rolling back out there. Cutler trying to chase down the kill. He does get it. It's actually Hayes that finds it there. with the nade. Instead, kind of steals it away. And again, Henny on an off angle there, finding Hazed. So a few impacts being made. And also that Ethan down at 2 HP. And he can really impact her. Finds that first kill. Aim punch really going to hurt, though. Down at 19 HP. And also the last man left alive. But if he can take down Ethan, that's great economical damage done. Unfortunately, he finds Sabrosa peeking out for him. And that is going to end the round.
Still a nice eco coming out from Immortals. And it pays off to just keep those pistols. If they hadn't won that round, CLG, I would have roasted them. But they pulled it off. 11-6. Just, I mean, taking chances when you have a an extreme possibility of getting eco'd. All right, I'll allow it. Nevertheless, 11-6. Turning into a respectable scoreline here for CLG. Slowly but surely.
And again, CLG 2 going to waste no time getting themselves out over here towards the outer site once again. Ethan leads the charge, and Sabrosa watching for flanks. He only catches one of them, though. Lucas, apologies, not Luca. Lucas is there to find the trade against him. Knocking him down. Look, it's from Phelps. Nobody's watching the bomb trade at this point, so he's going to sneak right up there, but doesn't actually find the kill. Very close, brings Hayes down to 6 HP. Good attempt at a move indeed, but does not actually manage to pick up the frag.
Young James Hazed Cobb, living by the eternal motto, when in doubt, jump it out. He doesn't live by that motto, I just made that up. Nevertheless, that was almost a sure kill if he had just sat there planting the bomb, because hitboxes in this game are never an issue. And he doesn't get the kill, dropped him down to 6 HP, so 1 kill coming out now for Immortals. They don't really care, just getting that AK is enough of a win for them. And certainly CLG trying to hunt it down and at least pad their banks. Ethan finds one with the SMG, just trades that back out, so 11-7, CLG in a good place to start the second half.
And so now we see the real test here. The guys on CLG with the gun investments rolling in for the Immortals, including the op on Henny. Zeus is actually going to go for the shotgun pickup 2 to play, I'm imagining towards inner, over right there by the ramp, and that's exactly where he's going to be heading towards here at the beginning of the round. But CLG still with a good edge. This won't be ending as easily as some may have thought here. We'll have to battle through this a little bit more here. CLG, though, playing it back, playing to the default early on here, not going to be making any crazy moves towards either site, just as of yet.
Yeah, and I think the big question mark on this half, as I bring up the point, is like how effective can Cutler be working this default with his AWP at mid? He finds the entry on a Phelps. And just as it was an issue for CLG in the first half, I mean, Immortals starting the round out 4v5 in the CT side. Statistically, never going to work in your favor. Not always, but sometimes going to work in your favor if you have Mag 7 in the face of Sabrosa. Zeus evens things back out.
And also Kusta too, slowly waiting for the timing to peek out against Henny, and we can see he's trying to bait out the shot, but not going to end up working. Not only this, but Lucas also picking up a frag too against Ethan there, so good start for CLG, just doesn't really follow through, and they need to find their way into the bomb site. I think Lucas has even spotted the T-Con push on its way out here too. He knows that there's something lurking there. Sure if you've seen both yet, but well, that's going to be an easy shot. Hayes just peeking his head right out for him. And the last one is Cutler stuck behind E-Box here, slowly getting flanked out. He will eventually just get shut out by Lucas. A 3K for him on this round. And Immortals once again reclaim their advantage.
Yeah, I've always wondered that. I mean, when it makes me smile when Lucas has an op in his hands. Because, I mean, genetically, Henny and here are very close, no?
I believe so.
So you would think
Fair
that
assessment.
inherently that means that Lucas is also an operator. Well, in fact, he is. Big 3K starting out the first gun round of the second half. Immortals striking back, just 4 rounds away from victory here for CLG on DE Train.
Just channeling like, the twin energy between them. They're sitting close enough now to where they can send each other.
Do you think they use the same settings?
I don't know.
They don't.
That's a good question.
They don't. I figured I would ask. How cute
That'd be cool if they did, though.
Yeah.
They have the same config file. Anyway, Zeus is also going to play very aggressively. Oh, he tries to move up, and they actually find him, but Dex, one of the members of CLG, down pretty quickly, but the same thing happens to him when he tries to return back down the ramp. So it's 4v4, and CLG are trying to start this push out towards inner. The problem is, though, is that they've seen it coming now because of that push from Zeus. So
they're hesitating so much right here.
they've got a lot of nade coverage onto the site, and there's another great nade, too. Moves in, destroys the health pool of both Sabrosa and Kusta, sitting at 17 and 31 HP here. They do eventually sort of force their way onto the site, but it's not great to actually hold it now as they're all just stuck around this ramp area. They don't have anywhere else to stop them from pushing in, and there's Kusta again peeking up on top of the train. Phelps is going to get an easy punishing kill onto that one. Final 3 have been pushed back. And the good news is they do have 2 Molotovs, but CT still have a smoke in their arsenal here too, so Bolts is going to try to push forward. He does get knocked out. Lucas moving in, catches the trade. There's the Molotov that goes over on top of the bomb, but in comes the smoke to counter it. And Phelps is waiting for the push from upper, shuts him down. Sabrosa the last one standing. There's the wasted Molotov because of the smoke already in the bomb, and it's just going to get defused. So Immortals knew how to handle that situation perfectly, and they execute very well for the retake. CLG failing yet another round, and the Immortals will now just sit 3 away from taking this map.
Yeah, but I mean, as soon as Zeus went down there at the lower ramp, CLG hesitated beyond belief. They sat on the lower ramp, they waited, expecting a second player to be in the bomb site, and yeah, they may have been outgunned and out-utilized, but overall, those Molotovs were delayed by 15 seconds or so because no rotators were coming in. I mean, I understand you're trying to get the round of the board, be in your post plans, don't lose any extra players, but they just have to have a little bit of confidence to push into that bomb site, take another gunfight, and hope to win it. And instead, Immortals are able to just basically rotate in freely. When the bomb gets planted, there's plenty of time for them to push in and actually use that utility. And of course, CLG down 13-7 now, just hoping for anything on this round. Lucas just cleaning things up nicely towards that E-box area.
They try to play it a bit cheeky there and force 4 of their players out ladder room, but it doesn't really go that well. It fails horribly, to be completely honest. They don't even get past E-box there before being knocked out, and he's going to go through a pretty quick, well, the majority of them for an eco round, but now they buy up once again here. The op sitting on Cutler, it is going to be a glass cannon op buy, with 4 AKs sitting behind it on the rest of the team.
Yeah, and I'm wondering whether or not they're going to do some sort of an outside execute here. They appear to be jumping on this dumpster. Sorry, that's a recycling bin. It's full of cardboard. But
It's not blue, though.
So are you saying that they're illegally dumping recycled goods on the...
They might be.
Valve is not eco-conscious? Hello?
Generally speaking, recycling bins are blue.
Yeah, so Cutler goes for the opening peek there towards Ivy, and I kind of began that thought before I noticed the dumpster, but if they're going to go for some sort of an outside execute, I don't know if they were waiting for this flank coming in from Zeus. This is just full confidence, and Hayes spinning around in circles drops him, but Henny's still alive towards that Ivy area. It's going to make it so difficult to push into this outside bomb site.
He's got to play right below me.
Yeah, he's actually getting flanked around now.
This is the no-scope shot. A little bit of confidence still bringing it through, but now it's down to a 2v2, and these guys are both at each other's throats at the moment. Henny, though, is in a lot of a hotter spot right now. At least Bolts is sitting way over there on top of the ladder room, but he's going to need to try and get back over here to support his teammate. Good news is, though, that at the moment, CLG not able to fall back to retrieve the bomb, so it is just a bit of a standoff between the two teams. As we see Henny creeping out there, he finds Sabrosa, but with Eagle in hand, Sabrosa definitely going to win that encounter, and now everything falls to Bolts in the 1v2.
All right, so Ryu in the pregame analysis said that Bolts is the rock and he wins his clutches. Let's see if it holds true.
It's going to be sneaking out now through Z, looking for a flank, and here's the good news too, is they're still looking to retrieve that bomb. There's only 18 seconds on the clock to get it on site. If Bolts can stop the initial plant here, then he may be able to just outright stop the play from happening. And no rotation into B either. They still stick to an A hit. So they're going to have to walk right up here. They are smart about it. They rat back through. They were aware of this possibility. But Bolts, nicely done. Swipes down to Sabrosa. He's going to push back out there trying to get the kill. But Bolts handles it anyway. Takes down Kusta. And it's another round for the Immortals as they go up to match point.
Ryu's looking at me and he's just nodding his head. He's too good. He's too good. The Rock of Immortals, Bolts with a couple of nice headshots to close out that round, but it all starts with Henny with the opening 2 kills. Beautiful round from Immortals. That was a little shaky from CLG. I mean, as soon as that bomb, they had to have thought that Bolts was sitting on top of the bomb, and that, you know, once the bomb was retrieved, maybe he was sitting above ladder, because Bolts was in her earlier. So I totally understand why Kusta gave away his position a little bit, pre-fired the spot, tried to clear it out, but the timing was such that, you know, neither of you are really going to be in good positions when you actually go to put that bomb down. So 15-7 now, match point for Immortals.
Bit unfortunate for Bolts after that big clutch there. Pushes in, isn't able to find the kill on either Ethan or Kusta. Messes up the spray just a little bit there. Ends up leading to his death when he peeks wide out there into the box halls. So now we go down 4v5. CLG have a bit of an advantage, not making any crazy moves to try and gain a huge advantage on this just as of yet, but we'll see in a moment here as now they're sending at least 2 of their players back over here towards Ivy. Color also approaching it as well, while the other 2 wait to execute down through ladder room. They're going to ignore T-Con completely. Lucas in this position, though, could swing back out and surprise the guys at ladder room. Got to be able to get the read on this first.
And this is actually a good call from CLG, just grouping up with numbers on both sides of both Ivy and ladder train. So Immortals in a 4v5. It's amazing to me how often we've seen rounds start out in this fashion. The difference is Immortals on their T side actually brought it out the other way, but Lucas finding 2, gets traded out by Hayes, and now Kusta answering. So Zeus in a 1v3 finds 1 on a Kusta. Just 2 frags remain. See if he can get it done, Blue.
He's going to be pushing directly out over here to try to contest Hayes, who's sitting back on the bomb train, not peeking anytime soon. He's trying to pop flash around the corner, but missed shot, and he wasn't even expecting Hayes to be up there, so doesn't even check it. Hayes gets a free kill to end the round, and CLG get to keep themselves alive for at least a little bit longer here. Probably actually going to see an eco on this run from the Immortals too. They're still a little bit low to justify a force up right now. Well, never mind. I want to end it now.
Yeah, that round was a little scrappy coming out from Immortals, right? They gave up the opening pick. And then Henny dying to the Molotov over at Ivy didn't help things, but almost able to bring it back. I mean, CLG just made the right mid-game call there, right? They're up in numbers, group up, push towards the bomb site together. You know, if you're going to have to trade it out, then do it. You know, economy doesn't even really matter at this point. You just need to win rounds. So, again, another T-sided opening pick coming out from Cutler.
And Phelps waiting for the drop to come in over here through into the ladder room. He spotted one player peeking him, but he hasn't taken a shot just yet, so it's still up in the air as to whether CLG have noted him. And in fact, well, they didn't, and if they did, it isn't going to work out so well. Phelps, how nice of Sabrosa too to die in a position where his body just drops right down. Bolts will find a second kill there against Ethan. Kusa does trade, but Phelps here once again. They're having a lot of trouble getting inside, and oh my goodness, Kusa just jumps right in through that Molotov, does the easy damage. Bolts is able to finish it off, and now it's all up to Cutler. Finally, he takes down Bolts, but before he goes down, he throws a Molotov, which isolates Cutler into this hallway.
Yeah, this is dire straits for Cutler. 26 HP in a 1v2. He does have that bomb in hand, but CTs know exactly where he's at. They're giving him a little bit of respect because of that, he has that off in hand, but Lucas with a nice round from Bolts and Phelps. Immortals close it out.
And with that, guys, that is going to be a nice little force-up round from the Immortals to close out their first map. Very quick one indeed. Phelps starts it off here. Ivy goes absolutely crazy as we see. Kusa tries to jump back in to take a Bolt style, but it only ends up spawning in the other direction, and obviously things just fall apart from there. So the Immortals will pick up this first map, continue to climb in the rankings, holding steady at their second place position in the league right now. And they've got one more to go after this one as CLG's struggles continue as they hope to rebuild their squad with this new roster.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a beautiful game of CS out of Immortals, but I mean, they're playing it relatively properly to the point where CLG, even when you did have flashes of brilliance, individual skill kind of coming to light, it was just immediately shut down by Immortals. I mean, Bolts with that 1v2 kind of snuffed out any hope of actually winning the game. But, you know, the last few rounds for CLG, their T-side looking a little potent. Looked like they could have gone somewhere with it, but they just didn't have enough rounds to work with.
All right, guys, so that is going to close out our first map, and there's a lot to break down, so we're going to take things back over to our analysis desk. Ryu and Daze, please take it away.
Daze and a manager.
Manager. Thanks, Blue. Kind of what we were expecting. We weren't expecting that CLG. We felt like they were clearly the underdogs in this game by a pretty large margin. We were looking for maybe Sabrosa and Ethan to step up. What did you see? How would you break down that map?
Well, I was surprised at Immortals' pace. They played a very fast pace. They were very in your face. And this round that they won here was like what really just tore it open, basically, for Immortals. They had a huge money glitch round for them, you know. They killed their money, and CLG didn't set up properly at all. They had a lower smoke, but they had multiple people watching it. They could have had one player watch a lower and the flank at the same time, essentially, and all they had to do was watch upper. It was just a really big lack of communication, essentially. That should never happen.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 4v2 round against
that should never happen. When you have the economic advantage, when he only has a deagle, you've cleared the entire site, and you have a smoke down at lower, and somebody comes out upper and peeks like that, that's just a huge lack of communication, a huge red flag.
So we saw on the CT side, it seemed pretty frequent that Immortals were going inner, just kind of waiting the smoke out at lower. They were getting that kill on Hayes pretty regularly. Didn't really see them change too much. It seemed like it was working round after round after round. We know that Hayes is a new in-game leader with some young, inexperienced talent. If you were in his shoes, or if you were giving him advice, what advice would you give him as a new in-game leader with some inexperienced players?
Well, I think the best thing that you could do with new players and building a team right away is to give everybody essentially a role and a leash that they have, kind of. So on T side, everybody knows where they can fight, you know, when they need to, what picks they should go for if you're in a default and things like that. And then on CT side, try to simple it, make it very simple. Say, what spots do you like to play? What spots do you want to get in when this happens, and this happens? So then that way everybody knows how to play off each other. You know, if you're the Ivy player, you say, look, when this smoke goes down, I'm doing this. Okay? When this happens, I'm doing this. But it was really difficult for a new team to play against, like the playstyle Immortals had there, because they were so fast-paced, they were so in your face. And when you are a new team and you have to think about everything, not everything's second nature, right?
Sure.
So having to think about everything makes that pace that they were playing at super difficult to play against. So we saw CLG pretty much crumble to it.
And on that CT side where they kept kind of going inner, it was Hayes most of the time by himself. Is there a specific setup that you would have used? Like, how would you have changed that, saying like, hey guys, they're coming inner regularly, let's do this? What would that be for you?
Well, Hayes was trying to play for a lot of information. He was always like spotting the lower ramp, and Immortals is clearly very drilled on how to stop that. So if I was them, as soon as you take that outside control, you know, you got to send that second guy inner. A lot of teams do that. If you watch like G2, they almost always have 2 players inner. And you want to just listen for the sound cues. And as soon as Hayes hears them, because they were going pretty fast, they were making a lot of noise, he needs to back up. He needs to either get on top of pop, back bomb, to the left side of bomb, you know, to kill them when they come down lower, and basically be in spots where he could get a kill and run away, you know, or at least, you know, make for sure that he has that first kill. If he's on top of pop there, he probably for sure gets that first kill, and then can probably stay alive for a little bit and let the rotate come.
Okay. Oh, that's good stuff. Henny played well. We saw him pretty dominant with I think he was over 23, 24 frags.
The 1v2 he had was like absolutely crucial.
Yeah, that was super early in the game that put them, I think, on a save. And then the damage he did on that round allowed them in that force buy to break their economy that much worse. We see 26 kills, 12 deaths for him.
Yeah, before he did that 1v2, though, they had a 5v3 in that round. Yep. And I always think like this. I always say, I never want my death to be like just useless, right? So Subrosa was in hell, and he knew that they knew that he was in hell, and he tried to jump out to back green. And what he should have said is, okay, I'm going to be in hell. If they kill me here, I want my teammate to trade. So instead of running away like that, and it was a thought-out decision, I could see what was going through his mind because he had 3 to 5 seconds to process that. Tell your teammate to come back green, wait until they push me hell, and then peek. That's what needed to happen. Instead, he died. That left all of hell open, right? And that opened up so many more opportunities for the rest of the team. He needs to stay alive there. He needs to tell his team, you know, I'm okay with dying here as long as we trade, right? And relay that to his team.
Yeah, we saw it was
that to me was the key point in that round.
Yeah, and it was a big round because it set up the economy that then got crushed just a few rounds later. Yep. Then we saw this crazy 1v2 from Bolts where we were both sitting over there and saying, like, this is such a great play from Bolts. Yep. There's very little time. They're going to grab the bomb from the ladder and come back down, and he's going to be sitting here. I mean, it's a really difficult thing, I would say, to do something different because it's not that the other guys didn't make a good play. They didn't have enough time. They didn't really have too many options. But Bolts just makes such a huge play on this, and I mean, this definitely crushed the spirits of CLG fans everywhere.
Well, this was a big read by him because what he did was he knew that the guy was coming from team mid. And if that guy's coming from team mid, they actually both went towards the ladder. But what I would be thinking there is they're definitely going to go back outside, right? Because that guy's coming from Whitehalls. He's going to cover those long angles, and then you could have your teammate come up the ladder or whatever, right? And most likely they're going to come towards outside there. So he's like, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of a gamble. I'm going to let him have the bomb, but then I'm going to kill him when they actually plant, when the time's ticking, you know, and it's very hard for them to trade the kill. They're just going to be holding W, running towards the site. That was an incredibly intelligent play by Bolts.
And that's the type of play that makes Bolts a world-class player and the rock for Immortals. If you guys haven't already, take out your Apple phone or your Google phone. That's what we call them these days. Go to the iOS store, go to the Google Play Store, download the Score Esports app because it is the #1 app for news and stats. You can review all of the information. You can see how historically good Bolts has been for this Immortals team. And don't go anywhere because after this short break, we're going to be back with Map 2, CLG Immortals on Cobblestone.